Oh man, we gotta get outside and film. This backdrop's getting a little old. Hi there, Coach Sage of SageRunning.com here. The vlog update, let you guys know in on a secret. I kind of leaked it the other day accidentally in the middle of my video. My next race, kind of my race schedule for this year, as well as what Coach Sandy's got me doing. So first of all, my next race will be, well, I might do a little race leading up to this big race, but my main focus race the spring will be, we'll try to get the OTQ at the Boston Marathon. It's a great race. There's so much history there. I love Boston. I've done it twice. Really had a great time at Boston. The competition's deep. The history, the tradition, the people. Great atmosphere, challenging course. The timing, there were a couple reasons on that, and people would be like, why did you pick Boston, Sage? Why don't you do London or Rotterdam or any fast course that's flat with more consistent weather? There were a lot of factors that went into this choice. Again, I love the big races. I love the big competition. Even at a race like London, which I will say is very hard to get into at this time of year, as well as to travel to, so there's logistical issues. You'll have a real elite pack running sub 206, 208, 210. Maybe there's 8 or 10 guys under 210, like ridiculously fast guys, like the real lead pack. Kipchoge, and I don't even know who's running. I guess Galen Rupp is running Boston this year. Bekele, guys like that, right? They're gone. Then there's this kind of gap with stragglers, a lot of times top Americans that may run really well, 213 to 212, something I can't touch. And then you're kind of in no man's land. You're kind of straggling. Like, if you look at the results of the top 20, a lot of times you could get 20 guys under 220, but there's this huge gap between 212, 213. There's a couple stragglers in there at 215, 216 maybe. But then 218, 220, there's only a couple more guys. So you're kind of by yourself if you're running 218 for the marathon. But it's like that in all these races. I've been top 20 in marathon majors like Chicago. Same sort of thing. Chicago's actually a little more dense. That's a good race to do, but the timing's not good on that. Maybe later in the fall. But anyway, I picked Boston. I love Boston. I really do. In 2015 I ran 4 marathons in a 10-month span. The fastest one I ran was 2:19:12, and it was at Boston at the 2015 Boston Marathon. And competing for place, competing for a top 20 position, or even better, a top 15. You get in the prize money if you're top 15 at Boston. Is real lucrative to me, and it motivates me. And I love I actually like the hills. The Newton Hills are some of my favorite stretch of running, and any service, any distance running that I've done. And the crowds and the people are just amazing. New England. There's so much tradition there. I'm really excited that Boston will be my next race. And, it's a risky attempt. I'm going to admit, like, flat out, no excuses with the weather. That's probably the biggest concern, is you could have really extreme weather at Boston. It could be a headwind, super hot and humid. It could be freezing cold and almost snowing, or super wet and windy. Wind is the biggest factor, I think, at Boston. Obviously, you don't want it to be hot, but because it's a point-to-point course, you could have a headwind the whole way or a tailwind the whole way. If you have a tailwind the whole way and it's cool, it's a lightning fast course, right? It's not even record eligible for world records because mainly because it's point-to-point, but that's because they're factoring in the tailwind. Tailwind is a huge boost. Whereas, if you run in slower years, it could be very hot. That's always a concern with time, as well as you could have a headwind. And in 2015 when I ran, it was actually cold, but there was a bit of a headwind. And again, I was by myself for 8 to 10 miles in the middle there, fighting this headwind, 10 to 15 mile an hour wind. Not ideal. I was still able to run 2:19:12 there, and I think I could better that. So, fingers crossed about the weather. The weather could be fickle in a lot of races. True, it's probably more consistent in a place like London, but I'm not worried so much about the hills. The downhill nature of the start of Boston, if you train for it well, is usually, you could account for that in training for hills. And then the Newton Hills are significant uphills. You lose all the time you banked on the downhills, basically, but it kind of evens out in the end. as long as your legs are trained for hills. And coming from mountain ultras, the hills at Boston don't feel too bad. That being said, you know, it's always a challenge. It's always fickle. You don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get sick or injured in this training cycle 11 weeks out. You know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and it's always a challenge. You know, just try not to get the flu. Try not to get a chest cold. Try to, you know, minimize risk there. Eat healthy. Do everything to a T. This plan that, you know, I'm listening to Coach Sandy more and more. She's got me doing, you know, different stuff now, and you know, there's evidence of me going to the gym yesterday. If you follow me on Instagram at Sage Canaday on Instagram, I did a gym session. I lifted weights in the gym for the first time in over 2 years. Actually did some squats, deadlifts, lifted with my legs for the very first time. I've never done that in my whole career, because we're trying to, and we'll do more videos on this later, but you could check out Sandy's channel, Running Wild to Believe. She's already got some great routines in there, but we're implementing some of that in, and I'll share some of that in the future here with you guys, because it's about building strength and injury resistance, really key with weight room and drills and things like that, but also improving running form and efficiency, running economy, but activating those glutes, you know, getting my hips stretched out, because structurally everything needs to be very, very sound, and every little edge, you know, don't leave a stone unturned. Got to do everything right to a T. When it comes down to 2 seconds a mile, you know, I'm really chomping at the bit here. So no excuses for this build up. I think it's a good amount of time. The timing works really well. You know, mid-April race. But you know, if I happen to miss, I'll keep trying anyway. I don't want to miss though. I really want to get this 2:18 at Boston or faster, and place as well as possible. So it's super exciting. I know some of you are running Boston. You can chime in too. Hopefully meet you guys there. But yeah, just wanted to let you know that. You know, I will do a mountain season this summer, but they will all be shorter races. They're all going to be marathon trail races. Maybe, you know, maybe I'll jump in Speed Goat 50K or North Face 50 mile at the end of the year, depending on how things go. But right now I'm looking at the Golden series of races. I think it's called Golden International Series, trail races, mountain races. You know, Zagama, Mount Blanc Marathon, Pikes Peak. I've always wanted to do the Pikes Peak Marathon. It's kind of in my backyard here in Colorado. I love the ascent there. It's just, you know, great marathon, 42K distance trail running. You know, so maybe some other ones later in the year there, but that's kind of the idea, is to keep that speed and intensity up and keep the leg turnover up, and to qualify for the Olympic trials, but also still do the trail races, which I also love. And yeah, we'll see how the Boston training goes. I'll follow along with this vlog here. Thanks so much for all your support on here. Hope, you know, all the Patreon supporters for really making this possible. I'm gonna do some more films outside, of course, vlogs, workouts, you know, the strength training routines that Sandy's got me going through, and exercises, strength, mobility, as well as, you know, daily vlogs, diet, nutrition, day in the life types of things. Stuff you guys would like to hear about, feel free to comment below. Final, you know, business plug, Sandy and I do sell plans at sagerunning.com. Any service, any distance, 5K, 10K, half marathon, marathon, 50 mile, 50K, mountain plans, 100 miles. We're gonna come out with a Boston specific training plan, which is probably too late for you guys this year doing Boston. We're only 11 weeks out. It's a 14-week plan, fairly advanced marathon plan, specifically designed for the hills of the Boston Marathon, the unique challenges. I'll have an extended part of our training guide on there, as well as metric and imperial versions, and comes with the pace intensity spectrum chart, things like that. You can check out the website, sagerunning.com. It'll be up in a couple days probably, as well as all our other plans. And, you know, Sandy put in the whole strength training routine. The Sage Running strength training routine also comes in the training guide with all of our plans, as well as, you know, differences with the mountain specific plan versus some of the road plans. So things like that, check it out, sagerunning.com. Be sure to subscribe on here if you like these types of videos and want to follow along. Thanks so much for all your support, guys. Really appreciate it. Hope your running is going well, and stay tuned for more Sage Running videos.